Behind the laughs lies SpongeBob's untold story of exploitation. Here are 15 moments when SpongeBob's innocence became a target for everyone around him. In the Krabby Chronicle episode, Mr. Krabs embarks on a wildly unethical get-rich-quick scheme.
So I took out an ad in the Bikini Bottom Examiner to bring in some new customers.
Turning the Krusty Krab into a tabloid newspaper factory.
25 cents per word! The newspaper business sure is easy money.
Enticed by the promise of easy profits, Krabs conscripts SpongeBob. Armed with a camera and Krabs' greedy coaching, SpongeBob's earnest nature is twisted into creating false, exaggerated stories about the townsfolk. At first, the ridiculous headlines like "Patrick marries a pole" and "Plankton steals Bikini Bottom's kids" fly off the presses and make Mr. Krabs a fortune. However, SpongeBob struggles as he watches lives unravel.
Yeah, but isn't there a way we could write juicy stories without hurting people?
From Larry the Lobster being bullied for lunch money,
This!
Larry the loser gets beaten up by Pipsqueak.
Bikini Bottom descends into chaos.
Who's to blame for this? Who?
SpongeBob finally protests, saying, "Mr. Krabs, we're hurting people."
Mr. Krabs, we're hurting people.
You better start feeling right, because if you don't, you can just kiss your spatula goodbye.
Mr. Krabs, you wouldn't!
Exhausted and guilt-ridden, SpongeBob has no choice but to keep writing underpaid and overworked. In order to create his wildest headline yet, SpongeBob gets pushed to the breaking point. Fueled by frustration, he pens an expose on Mr. Krabs himself.
What's going on?
You should know!
Krabs overworks employees, reaps reward.
The headline blows up in Krabs' face as a mob of angry townsfolk storms the Krusty Krab.
And I thought I was evil. All the kids in town want to beat me up for lunch money.
The mob dismantles the Krabby Chronicle empire, reclaiming their money while laying waste to Krabs' dream of easy riches.
How can I be okay when me money's gone?
True to his character, he immediately pivots to an even shadier idea, printing counterfeit cash using his tabloid press. Meanwhile, SpongeBob watches in disbelief.
Can you fix me and the wife up a couple of Krabby Patties?
If you think SpongeBob is mistreated, watch the upcoming moments to know how everyone in Bikini Bottom uses him for personal gain. In the Krabby Land episode, SpongeBob is excited for the first day of summer.
And today's the first day of summer!
Mr. Krabs is particularly thrilled about summer because of the kids being out of school and the money they carry with them.
Pockets lined with allowance.
He plans to capitalize on this by creating Krabby Land, a rundown playground designed to lure children in for cheap entertainment. When SpongeBob arrives at the Krusty Krab the next day,
Huh?
Mr. Krabs plans to have kids pay to play with cheap, malfunctioning rides and get them hooked on his delicious Krabby Patties. SpongeBob, wearing a mask, attempts to entertain the kids, but they aren't impressed with his lackluster bubble tricks.
Still lame.
SpongeBob starts to realize that they enjoy seeing him in pain. In an attempt to please the kids, SpongeBob begins to purposely injure himself for their amusement. He rips off pieces of his face with tape and gets run over by trucks, all while receiving gleeful applause from the children.
Right where I want him.
SpongeBob's arms and legs are stretched and twisted to comedic extremes, and he even gets beaten up by a large wrecking ball. Despite the abuse, SpongeBob gives a thumbs up, happy to please the children. Mr. Krabs, meanwhile, is counting the money he's made from the kids. He urges SpongeBob to keep stalling by telling the kids that Krabby the Clown will be there soon.
Krabby the Clown is in the building!
When Mr. Krabs finally shows himself as Krabby the Clown, SpongeBob is disgusted by the cheap, shoddy act, and so are the kids. They confront Mr. Krabs, who, in a startlingly callous moment, admits that he only cares about profiting from their money, not their happiness.
I don't care about the children. I just care about their parents' money.
The children, angered, chase Mr. Krabs out, and soon after, it begins to rain money from the sky, representing the true meaning of summer. Meanwhile, Mr. Krabs gets his comeuppance.
Green stuff? No!
The episode ends with SpongeBob walking away with the children, happily throwing money in the air. In the Sponge Who Could Fly episode, at the start, SpongeBob gazes at the jellyfish soaring through the skies and sighs, believing he'll never be able to join them. He dismisses his dream as silly, but things quickly take a turn when a blow dryer accident inflates his pants and shirt, lifting him off the ground. At first, he's shocked, but then realizes he can fly.
Hey, look, Gary! I think I'm flying!
Delighted, SpongeBob soars through Bikini Bottom, receiving adoration from the townsfolk.
I'm flying! I'm flying!
He's flying, he's flying, he's really, really flying.
As he assists everyone from Mrs. Puff
Gotcha!
to Mr. Krabs.
Mr. Krabs, reclaim his dime!
The excitement grows as SpongeBob begins performing small heroic deeds. However, as SpongeBob's powers become known, the entire town bombards him with requests.
Yes?
To clean
Clean up crime?
my garage.
From scratching bellies to fixing checkbooks, SpongeBob is pulled in every direction.
Too much geometry?
Talk to my plants.
Rub my scalp?
The whole town chases him, demanding more favors.
He's getting away.
No, he owes us favors.
In a desperate effort to block their pursuit, SpongeBob flies faster toward jellyfish fields. SpongeBob crashes to the ground, his inflatable pants destroyed, and the townspeople mourn the loss of his incredible gift.
Pants like these come around once in a lifetime.
But as SpongeBob sadly walks to jellyfish fields, he realizes that the jellyfish are there to lift him up, without the help of his pants. They carry him high, teaching him the lesson that true flight, and perhaps true freedom, comes from friendship and not from material things. At the end of the episode, SpongeBob joyfully soars into Bikini Bottom with the jellyfish's help. The way the entire town uses and exploits SpongeBob for their personal gains shows how his good nature becomes a burden. In SpongeBob You're Fired, SpongeBob faces the shock of being dismissed from the Krusty Krab after Mr. Krabs cuts cost by fighting him over a measly nickel.
You know I love you like a son, but you can't argue with a nickel.
SpongeBob bids an emotional farewell to his spatula. Patrick's advice to embrace idleness turns disastrous, with SpongeBob doing chores for Patrick.
What? Fun employment?
Determined to regain his purpose, SpongeBob sets out to find a new job, leading to hilariously tragic escapades.
Greetings, purveyor of elongated sausage products. I would love to work at your establishment.
At Pizza Pete is his attempt to reinvent pizza results in the horrifying creation of a pizza patty.
What have you done? You turned an innocent pizza into a pizza patty.
Next, Señor Taco is initially intrigued by SpongeBob's burrito patty, but fires him when its explosion wreaks havoc on customers.
Who'd like to taste it? I'll give it a go.
Even Noodleman fires SpongeBob, throwing a noodle patty at his face for good measure.
You're fired!
SpongeBob has been canned 5 times in what is arguably the worst workday imaginable.
Who are you gonna cook for now, SpongeBob?
Back home, SpongeBob demonstrates his culinary creativity by whipping up snail food for Gary and Patrick. Just as SpongeBob wallows in self-pity, 2 costumed hot dog workers literally sandwich him between buns and drag him to Weenie Hut. There, Mr. Weiner handcuffs him to the grill for forced labor.
Now get to work!
Enter the Krabby Patty Man, who turns out to be Squidward in disguise. Disgusted by the Krusty Krab's downhill trajectory, Squidward implores SpongeBob to return.
Please come back and be the fry cook again.
Mr. Krabs wholeheartedly agrees, lamenting the chaos caused by SpongeBob's absence. SpongeBob revitalizes the restaurant in his usual over-the-top fashion.
The Krusty Krab is back in business!
SpongeBob is thrilled to be rehired. His abusers have turned into happy patrons and all ends well. In Can You Spare a Dime? Squidward quits his job at the Krusty Krab, fed up with Mr. Krabs' treatment.
You can't do that to me! I'm your boss!
Not anymore, Mr. Krabs.
Squidward claims that he is ready to unlock his potential and pursue greater ambitions, imagining himself as various successful figures.
A player, or a king, or a spaceman.
However, he quickly faces the harsh reality of life outside the Krusty Krab and ends up homeless.
Spare change, ma'am.
Squidward, is that you?
SpongeBob finds Squidward in this state and, despite Squidward's harsh words about his life choices, offers help. SpongeBob invites Squidward to stay at his house, where he provides all kinds of pampering to get Squidward back on his feet.
Oh, thanks, SpongeBob. SpongeBob,
As weeks drag on, Squidward continues to take advantage of SpongeBob's hospitality while refusing to look for work, like extra blankets and water. After months of this, SpongeBob finally loses his temper, yelling at Squidward for being lazy and ungrateful.
What are you saying?
He forcefully drags Squidward's bed out of his house and toward the Krusty Krab to seek Mr. Krabs' help in bringing Squidward back to work, when SpongeBob offers Mr. Krabs the first dime that was supposedly stolen, and the issue of its theft is settled, allowing Squidward to return to his job.
Well, Mr. Squidward, it's good to have you back. Sure you didn't mean to misplace me dime.
What are you saying?
But the peace doesn't last, leading to a confrontation where he makes baseless accusations. SpongeBob returns to his maid role. In this episode, poor SpongeBob gets thoroughly abused. In Squidward the Unfriendly Ghost, the episode begins with SpongeBob accidentally bringing Squidward's wax sculpture to life while practicing his bubble art. Squidward seizes the chance to abuse SpongeBob and Patrick's gullibility by convincing them he is a ghost.
Do anything you want. Just have mercy on us.
Enough!
If SpongeBob wasn't such a sweet optimist, it'd be workplace abuse with a side of haunting.
Too hot.
Here?
No.
When Squidward demands a song, leaving SpongeBob stuck in the same spot for days. Night turns to day, twice.
Watch this. Napping on the job. Squidward's ghost commandeth you to clean out his back room.
They stumble upon a comic book detailing the Flying Dutchman's tragic tale.
It says when he died, they used his body as a window display.
SpongeBob and Patrick go full funeral mode, building a coffin and even carving a tombstone for Squidward.
Are you crazy? I'm not getting in that thing.
When Squidward discovers their antics, he freaks out, kicks them out, and finally confesses he's alive.
I'm alive! Now get rid of that tombstone and tell all your friends to go home!
Despite his clear declaration, SpongeBob and Patrick refuse to believe it.
He needs us now more than ever.
You're right.
Determined, they escalate their plan, blowing a massive bubble to carry Squidward to the great beyond. Meanwhile, SpongeBob and Patrick wave cheerfully, marveling at their success. The episode ends with Squidward trapped above Bikini Bottom, moaning helplessly as seagulls circle him. In the Sleepy Time episode, SpongeBob drifts into a whimsical dream world one night,
Ouch! Where am I?
eager to explore the minds of his friends while he sleeps. His first stop is Gary's dream.
Have you seen
SpongeBob?
Gary?
SpongeBob, failing to keep up, gets hilariously booted from the dream. Next, in Mrs. Puff's dream, SpongeBob joins a road race, hoping to impress her. Mrs. Puff's dream of driving bliss becomes a nightmare, and she ejects SpongeBob in a puff of frustration.
Ouch!
SpongeBob ventures into Pearl's dream, where she's hosting a sophisticated tea party.
Oh, Pearl, this is your dream.
You're just in time for the tea party.
She dismisses him with an eye roll, sending him to Mr. Krabs' dream. Here, SpongeBob finds Mr. Krabs fishing for the legendary Moby Dollar. As Mr. Krabs reels in his prize, SpongeBob fumbles and lets the cash escape. Furious, Mr. Krabs ties SpongeBob to a plunger cannon and literally fires him out of the dream. Landing in Plankton's dream, SpongeBob discovers the tiny villain as a towering monster sapping buildings and stomping through Bikini Bottom. When Plankton sets his sights on Gary, SpongeBob leaps to protect his pet. Finally, SpongeBob returns to his own dream, only to be haunted by visions of his disgruntled friends. SpongeBob wakes up to find the real Squidward, Mr. Krabs, Sandy, Gary, Plankton, and Pearl surrounding his bed in their pajamas, all glaring at him. Even Gary chimes in with an angry meow.
Does anyone have a quarter?
Throughout his dream-hopping adventure, SpongeBob's well-meaning but chaotic antics result in literal abuse. In SpongeBob Meets the Strangler, the episode begins with SpongeBob tattling on a littering perpetrator who turns out to be the infamous Tattletale Strangler.
What are you gonna do? Call the police?
The furious villain escapes custody to silence SpongeBob.
Yep, he got away.
Oblivious to the danger, SpongeBob unknowingly hires the Strangler as his bodyguard for protection from the Strangler. The duo begins their misadventures as SpongeBob runs errands, keeping the Strangler from striking. Highlights include shopping chaos and SpongeBob peppering the Strangler with an endless stream of compliments. Finally, they reach SpongeBob's house, where the Strangler's frustration boils over.
Now, where'd I put my key? 20 minutes later.
His attempts to harm SpongeBob backfire spectacularly as SpongeBob, wearing spiky cleats, gets them lodged in the Strangler's eyes during a failed climb through the window. The Strangler runs in pain for hours until SpongeBob finally retrieves the house key.
There you are, you little rascal.
Inside, just as the Strangler corners SpongeBob, ready to strike, friends and neighbors celebrate SpongeBob's perfect attendance record at work. Exhausted by the constant interruptions, the Strangler keeps getting thwarted as party guests refuse to leave.
Happy birthday, SpongeBob!
Ivan Patrick unknowingly causes chaos by proclaiming himself the Strangler, adding to the mix-up. The villain reaches his breaking point, rips off his fake mustache, and yells, "I am!" But another impromptu party immediately sends him running out of the house, with SpongeBob hot on his heels. The chase escalates when the Strangler leaps into a taxi, boards a plane, and even parachutes off. However, his bad luck reaches its peak when he lands directly in the Bikini Bottom police station jail.
I'm not your bodyguard!
The Strangler confesses his identity in a fit of exasperation. The Strangler, desperate for peace, realizes Patrick is his cellmate, sealing his fate in a never-ending loop of madness. In Fools in April, SpongeBob is in high spirits, eagerly preparing for his favorite holiday,
April Fools! To me! Ah!
and setting the tone with a series of harmless pranks on everyone around him.
Hey, what's that?
Oh, I didn't see anything. Hey, where'd that other guy go?
April Fools!
His pranking continues at work, where he pulls off playful tricks on customers, like confusing utensils.
Oh, but this is a spoon.
April Fools!
However, his pranks begin to drive Squidward crazy, who dreads this day and the relentless jokes SpongeBob delights in pulling. Squidward, trying to avoid participating, attempts to call in sick, but is duped by Mr. Krabs into coming to the Krusty Krab, where he falls victim to a prank involving a fake art honor.
Have arrived. What? What's so funny? Where's the art dealer?
April Fools.
Squidward's patience grows thinner as he watches SpongeBob's ever-growing list of pranks. When it's finally Squidward's turn to retaliate, he takes the joke too far, setting up an elaborate trap that sends SpongeBob flying through the restaurant and crashing into various objects, causing chaos and making a mess. As the prank culminates in SpongeBob landing in a garbage can, Squidward thinks he's gotten his revenge with an April Fool's.
April Fools, you little sausage!
SpongeBob, visibly upset, runs out of the Krusty Krab, and Squidward is left feeling guilty.
Wait, it was a joke!
He initially struggles with how to apologize, trying various awkward methods from playing his clarinet to writing notes.
Aren't you gonna open it?
I can't. I don't have a bottle opener.
However, his attempts are all foiled by Patrick's random interference and his own insecurities. Squidward's regret grows as he realizes how much he hurt SpongeBob, eventually leading him to his doorstep for a sincere apology.
I'm sorry! I didn't mean to hurt you. In fact, SpongeBob, I like you!
When Squidward finally admits that he does like SpongeBob and everyone around him, SpongeBob believes him, and just as Squidward starts to feel relieved, the door swings open to reveal that it was all a trap. The episode ends with Squidward laughing nervously. SpongeBob endures relentless public humiliation, the betrayal of a co-worker in Little Yellow Book. The episode opens with Squidward basking in the rare quiet at the Krusty Krab. His peaceful day quickly unravels as SpongeBob, hidden in a barrel, giggles over his diary. Squidward's curiosity peaks when SpongeBob hides the book, sparking the beginning of Squidward's moral descent.
What's going on here?
Soon, Squidward concocts a plan to trick SpongeBob into leaving the kitchen and retrieves the diary.
It's a diary. Oh, this is gonna be good.
Squidward finds SpongeBob's antics, like clucking like a chicken at the sight of Plaid.
When SpongeBob sees Plaid, he has this uncontrollable urge to cluck like a chicken.
Hilarious, and instead of keeping it to himself, he decides to share the absurd details with anyone who'll listen. When Mr. Krabs unknowingly sets off SpongeBob's Plaid triggered chicken impression.
Lad?
Hey!
SpongeBob, humiliated but ever chipper, takes a bubble-blowing break. But Squidward's dark side thrives. His mockery intensifies as he reads more diary entries to the customers.
SpongeBob has named his spatula Fifi.
He named it Fifi. He named his spatula Fifi.
By the end of Squidward's mean-spirited stand-up routine, SpongeBob realizes the diary theft and runs off sobbing.
Squidward!
The whole town turns against him after the incident hits the local paper with a dramatic headline about a devastated SpongeBob. Townsfolk shun Squidward, calling him names like jerk and secret stealer.
Billy, stay away from that mean old diary reader.
Morons.
His loan officer even repossesses his house, citing diary reading as a violation of the terms.
What? Take it away, boys.
Homeless and drenched in rain, Squidward ends up in a pillory, enduring public scorn and a tomato shower from the likes of Patrick.
Diary reader.
What? You read it too?
Oh, sure. Blame everyone but yourself. That is so you.
When SpongeBob approaches him with forgiveness and gratitude for helping his work diary become a bestseller, Squidward feigns contrition.
Work diary? You've never even seen my secret personal diary.
But the moment SpongeBob mentions a secret personal diary, Squidward can't resist. Squidward steals it too!
Squidward! How could you?
SpongeBob's tearful cries of betrayal don't faze Squidward, who continues laughing maniacally while being bombarded with produce.
I don't care. This is so worth it.
In the Ripped Pants episode, it's a sunny day at Goo Lagoon, and SpongeBob's craving some laughs and attention.
Hey, Sandy, who am I?
He gets a few chuckles by accidentally ripping his pants while trying to impress Sandy and Larry. Sensing potential, SpongeBob doubles down, turning the Ripped Pants gag into his entire comedy routine. At first it works, he's the talk of the beach. Even Sandy is amused, but SpongeBob pushes things too far.
You still got it, dude.
In one wild attempt for laughs, he pretends to drown, horrifying everyone. Sandy races to rescue him. Realizing he's losing everyone's favor, SpongeBob retreats to a dressing tent, tears off his pants entirely, and accuses an imaginary pants thief of the crime.
Someone call the police! There's a pants thief on the loose!
The attempt flops miserably. Things seem hopeless until SpongeBob meets three self-proclaimed beach losers. SpongeBob shares his woes, singing about how his obsession with getting laughs cost him friendship and dignity. The other losers join him for a heartfelt song about embracing one's true self. A massive crowd gathers, cheering their catchy anthem. Sandy's moved to tears and forgives SpongeBob.
If you all want to be my friend, just be yourself.
Even Larry acknowledges SpongeBob's talent, requesting an autograph on his pants. SpongeBob's journey highlights an important lesson. Chasing cheap laughs is never worth sacrificing authenticity. In the Secret Box episode, SpongeBob eagerly invites Patrick to go jellyfishing.
Patrick, the jellyfish don't catch themselves.
But Patrick is distracted by his new secret box. The usually open SpongeBob is baffled by Patrick's refusal to share the contents of the mysterious box. SpongeBob, in a whirlwind of oversharing, spills dozens of personal secrets to prove his openness, revealing his overbite, love for bubble blowing.
I love my job at the Krusty Krab. I sleep with my shoes on. I like jelly on both sides of my toes. I've got an overdue library book.
Patrick is impressed but remains steadfast in keeping the box's contents private, even after SpongeBob parades around with absurd secrets like his secret TV and secret Gary's Bowl.
And my secret Gary's Bowl!
Unable to resist, SpongeBob hatches a plan to sneak into Patrick's house at night and unlock the mystery. Every step SpongeBob takes results in outlandishly loud sounds. Despite the racket, Patrick snoozes on, drooling and muttering about his beloved secret box.
Secret box.
After a comedic battle with gravity, SpongeBob finally makes his move but wakes Patrick, who hilariously mistakes him for a clam burglar.
And prepare for the most unpleasant pillow fight of your life.
When SpongeBob reveals he is best friends forever.
It's the best friends forever!
In a surprising turn, Patrick lets SpongeBob open the box.
Huh?
A single piece of string. SpongeBob awkwardly thanks Patrick for sharing and leaves. As SpongeBob walks away laughing about the absurdity of the box's secret, Patrick reveals his true brilliance.
Revealing one embarrassing snapshot of SpongeBob at the Christmas party!
Through all the hilarity, SpongeBob takes the brunt of abuse. In Good Neighbors, Squidward dreams of a relaxing Sunday, but SpongeBob and Patrick have other plans.
I'm not going to let them ruin the rest of my Sunday.
They proudly visit him, donning Good Neighbor Lodge faces and inviting him to join their club.
What are you two idiots doing?
Squidward reluctantly attends a lodge meeting, which involves endless nuisance and even bizarre rituals. Desperate to escape, Squidward throws the duo out and bans them from his house indefinitely. Hurt but well-meaning, SpongeBob and Patrick decide to apologize with a cake, despite Squidward having just installed a high-tech Security System 5000.
Cake.
Sorry for bugging you so much.
Predictably, the system backfires when it fails to detect any threats from SpongeBob and Patrick. To make things worse, their apology cake ends up wrecking the system.
Threat detected. Code red.
As Squidward tries to ignore the mayhem, SpongeBob and Patrick hilariously experiment with house controls, like flipping a toaster switch, before finally stopping the rampage with an off button. The house collapses back on Squidward.
We did it, Patrick!
Exhausted and defeated, Squidward blames himself for wanting a relaxing Sunday. Just as Squidward breathes a sigh of relief,
There he is!
Are you the owner of this house?
Bikini Bottom's citizens blame him for the destruction and sentence him to lifetime Sunday community service. In Shanghai, one stormy night, SpongeBob, Patrick, and Squidward find themselves on the Flying Dutchman's ship. The Dutchman plans to eat them but allows them to become his ghostly crew instead.
We know our place now, Mr. Dutchman.
We'll do anything you say.
Squidward gets trapped in the Fly of Despair, doomed to fall endlessly, while SpongeBob and Patrick perform humiliating chores like ironing underwear and clipping the Dutchman's toenails. Needless to say, they're miserable.
Don't worry, Captain. We'll buff out those scratches.
Amid their tasks, they overhear the Dutchman reveal his dinner plan.
Ah, it's a good thing I found my dining sock again.
Plot twist! He can't eat without his dining sock. In a standoff, the sock is torn, leading the Dutchman to negotiate.
3 wishes.
Make it 5.
4.
3. Take it or leave it.
Things spiral when Patrick wastes the first wish on turning back time a single minute.
I wish we had known that earlier.
SpongeBob then wastes the second wish to bring Squidward back to their predicament. A tug-of-war breaks out over the final wish until the Dutchman, in true pirate style, picks at random. SpongeBob's final wish chosen by viewer votes. SpongeBob wishes the Dutchman becomes a vegetarian.
Hey! We're home!
The Dutchman can no longer eat them but turns them into fruit, delicious ones no less, and plans to blend them into a smoothie instead.